Hello, everyone. Welcome to the September edition of QB Talks. This is Murph, and our topic for today is the best of practice management apps comparison. And as a precursor to that, I'll just say that I spent several months putting together a practice management app comparison for Be Insightful. And Deborah and I have taken select apps out of that and are going to discuss those with you today. But this presentation today is not all of the apps nor the detail of the apps that you will find in the document that is part of Be Insightful. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. As I said, this is Murph. I think everybody knows me that way. I've been around here involved in QuickBooks for more than 25 years. I've been teaching accounting and in finance, well, gosh, Deborah just reminded me how old I am, for more than right at now 50 years. Uh, and more than 20 years, I was involved in manufacturing, fabrication, job supervision, and construction. I grew up in that business, and that's where I first learned anything about accounting. And currently, I am the contributing technical author for Insightful Accountant, and I also have the great privilege of administering now what we call the Top Advisor Awards, not just the Pro Advisor Awards. And we want to know, and Matt's going to open a poll, are you going to Las Vegas for the Intuit Connect? Just tell us, because we're going to potentially have a event, um, and we're trying to get a guesstimate as to how many people are going to be there that might want to attend our event. By the way, it's going to be at the Sphere.
Oh, the Sphere?
Yes.
I might have to go to the Connect just to be able to go to your event.
You might just have to come out there whether you go to
Yeah, yeah, I
Connect
might
or
just go
not.
to the Sphere.
All right, Matt, I think that probably is long enough. Now, Gary insists that I plug Insightful Accountant's premium content called Be Insightful. As I told you, it has a lot of sophisticated content. How to by the how-toers is the way I put it. Tech stack, app comparison, migrations, HR marketing, business development, a whole group of other areas we're expanding. And for example, just last month, or maybe just at the end of the month before, I wrote a document, a white paper on migrating from QuickBooks Desktop to Sage 50. I'm in the process of writing two or three other white papers. We actually call them blue papers. But yep. So if you're interested in that, then you probably also will be interested in our C-Day Symposium. That's correct. Insightful Accountant is going to go on a cruise into the Caribbean, and we're going to have a training every day, but not all day long. You'll have plenty of opportunity to recreate, but you can learn as you cruise. And so if you're interested in Be Insightful and the C-Day Symposium, then just answer the poll that Matt has already opened.
I'm going, by the way. I'm so excited. Hal and me are going. Hal and Natal will be there.
All right. And that's what I said. And of course, with me today is Deborah Kilsheimer. She is a top pro advisor. She's behind the scenes, owns behind the scenes financials, a bookkeeping uh, and accounting firm. And she's also co host of Bookkeepers on Fire. and she does that with Donna Reed. And so, Deborah, I'm glad to have you here today.
I'm thrilled to be here.
And right quick, these are our learning objectives. I'm not going to take time to read them, but they're all about practice management apps and you identifying what you think's most important to get to a successful app, and then what app you might want to learn more about at the conclusion of today. So let me talk just a minute about the difference between practice management and workflow apps. A couple of months ago, Deborah and I looked at a variety of workflow apps, and generally, I think we both came to the conclusion that workflow apps are essentially a tool that you would recommend to your clients more so than a practice management app, unless, of course, that client happens to be in some kind of professional practice. But practice management apps are really geared towards that. Professional practices, and many of them are specific to accounting or tax. And again, our comparison identifies those for you and visits their strong points. But some of them uh, can be quite deceiving. And for example, Deborah's going to talk about TaxDome, and as she said, she avoided it when she was doing her own exploration to begin with because it started with the word tax.
You're taking away my thunder there.
And so from an advisory standpoint, you may need a practice management app like those we're going to focus on today, as opposed to workflow apps for your clients. Now, we know that some accounting firms can't necessarily afford a sophisticated practice management app, so they use a less expensive workflow app, and if that's all you can do, that's what you can do. And why this slide's in here twice, I have no idea. So today, the apps we're going to look at are Canopy, Client Hub, Financial Sense, Firm 360, Karbon, Keeper, Mango, TaxDome, and we're going to talk about whether QuickBooks Online Accountant is or is not a practice management app. By the way, we're not going to talk about them in this alphabetical order. I'm going to cover those that I'm going to cover, and then Deb is going to cover the ones she's going to cover. We didn't want to have to do a whole bunch of switching back and forth. Now, I want to also make you aware that the total app comparison product that we have in Be Insightful, it also includes these 4 practice management apps. So you can compare all of them together, but we won't be covering those today. And now I've got to talk to you about Guideline. Guideline makes 401ks easy. Originally, we thought we were going to have a representative from Guideline, and something happened, and so I'm your representative today. Guideline offers various 401k plans, including a safe harbor plan that is the ultimate in their plug and play 401 that should say K. In fact, 70% of Guideline's customers are using this safe harbor plan, which helps minimize compliance risk and savings. Guideline also offers traditional 401k plans designed to fit your budget and your schedule, and those can be conformed and customized very easily. They let you provide benefits while minimizing paperwork and fees, and they can also be opened in minutes. Now, for small businesses and starter companies, Guideline offers what they call a starter 401k plan that can jumpstart your team's savings. These plans are especially applicable to firms or businesses of maybe a handful of people. And if you didn't think there was a 401k available to you as a solo practitioner, think again. Guideline offers specifically a solo 401k plan that lets you maximize your self employment benefits with one of the most powerful retirement accounts on the market. Guideline integrates with top payroll providers so employers can easily connect their plan and build a 401k that's straightforward and impactful while simplifying administration through payroll connectivity. For example, it connects with Intuit QuickBooks Payroll, Gusto, Rippling, JustWorks, OnPay, Paychex, Paycor, and many, many more. So, if you'd like to learn more about how Guideline can help you and your clients with configuring a 401k and keeping it simple, just answer yes to the sponsor poll question that Matt has just now opened. And we'll give you a little bit of time to do that. And I'll count that down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, this is our first CPE polling question. And remember, you must answer all 3 of the CPE polling questions. We want to know which of these do you currently use. Now, if you use something else, there's an option for I use something else. If you don't use a practice manager at all, there's an option for that. If you use one, but it's none of the above, you can answer that, which I guess is essentially the same thing as I use something else. I probably wrote this question while I was half asleep in a chair in the ICU watching my brother snore.
He's doing well now, though, right, Murph?
Yes, he is. Yep.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I have a brother that has a mechanical heart, and it's 4 years strong, but he just had a little episode, not really related to his heart, but they have to treat it like it is. So, anyway, all right, let's go ahead and close that poll, Matt, and if you'll show us the results of it. Well, a vast majority, 24%, are using QBO-Accountant.
Oh, wow.
The one,
That's kind of exciting to hear.
the one that we're not sure it is a practice manager. And then Canopy and Financial Sense are about the same. Keeper is in that group of roughly 6%, and everything else is trailing off. Okay. Uh, so, uh, generally, in the assessment of a practice manager, you need to look at things like client management that includes how you communicate with your clients, whether it offers engagement letters, whether it has e-signatures, and whether it has a client portal. Also, document management, how you can control those, ensure that they're protected, centralization, where everything is in one place, not stored in 16 different files across 13 different computers, indexed properly, and has uploadable capabilities, including from the client portal. Project management areas include the ability to make assignments to your team, checklists for what's going on, organizers as to how to keep it straight, templates for task specific activities, and then the workflow that connects all of those components. Also, team management. Do you have the ability to, now I'm going to kind of change the order here, do timekeeping, and from that, do invoicing? Do you have the ability to message your team members, schedule your team members, and do they have access to a mobile app that allows them to come into your practice management solution when they're out trying to deal with, your clients while they're on the beach. And then also integrations. And of course, it needs to be able to integrate with your accounting, your calendar, your email, and perhaps a whole number of other type apps. And if you do tax, of course, you want it to be able to integrate with your tax solution. Now, when we compare apps for, or when I compare apps for Be Insightful, these are the factors that we rank in order to come up with our rating. And we'll talk about rating today for the apps that we're looking at. I thought I had plugged it in on each one, but apparently I didn't. But I do have a slide at the end that shows you the rating of today's apps based on these factors from the comparison that I did. Now, polling question number 2. Which of these features does your current practice management app lack? Of the ones that you're using, which most of you were using QBO-Accountant, what does it lack? Which of these does it lack? And you could select all that apply. We'll give you another few moments here. And I'll start counting down. 5-er, 4-er, 3-er, 2-er, 1-er. Let's close it up and see the results. All right. So, yeah, 60% lack engagement letters, 48% lack scheduling, 36% lack workflow templates, 35% lack centralized documents, 34% client portals. I think all of those things that I've just mentioned are not found in QBO-Accountant. And so we'll just kind of go on from there. And I got to try to keep time on. And yes, folks, I have to put on my readers or I'll have this all messed up. So I'm going to talk a little about Canopy Practice Management, which offers a range of features, including client management and document storage and workflow automation and many of the things that we focused on earlier. So for example, client management, it offers centralized client information, facilitating communications and managing client interactions. I told you document storage or document management was important, and it has the ability to securely store and organize documents, both client documents and your internal documents, ensure that only the people who need access have access. It offers workflow automation so you can streamline processes and improve team collaboration. It has a client portal that allows them to access their documents, to share their documents, also to make payments and see their invoicing. It has tax specific tools like a feature for IRS transcript management and automated client reminders. And it offers a mobile app. It integrates with a lot of accounting software like QuickBooks. And, it offers e-signatures and has a formal client intake process. Client Hub. Unfortunately, I put these in my original order, not my actual order. So you got to give me another minute to get there.
Client Hub was actually developed by our own Judy, and who is a pro advisor. She's saw the things that were frustrating her as a pro advisor and developed Client Hub. And so I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for her product because of Judy.
Well, it's a practice management solution specifically designed for accounting and bookkeeping. It helps manage client communications, tasks, workflows, and documents. For example, in workflow management, it has automated workflows that allow you to set up recurring jobs like monthly bookkeeping or payroll and assign them to team members. It has checklists and intuitive workflows so you can use those to guide staff through specifically the tasks and order of those tasks to ensure consistency. Those are customizable, but you can also use templates that are given to you as a part of the product. Now, it has a built-in client portal that allows clients to upload their documents and to communicate directly with the firm, eliminating endless email threads. It offers client communications and it has streamlined email integration so it can pull in and organize emails relative to the topic, the task, or the client. And it has, as I said, document management centralized, and also it has automatic organization um, once you set it up where it can put the documents where they belong. It also offers integrated e-signature. A lot of these products integrate with e-signature, but they don't offer it directly, and so then you wind up still subscribing to something else. But some of them have incorporated e-signature. It includes time tracking. It has QBO integration and a number of AI-powered features. Now, let's talk about Firm 360. Firm 360 is a cloud-based practice management software platform. I always like this term platform. Everybody wants to be a platform these days. I'm really looking for something always that says, we offer a cloud-based all-in-one. Platform implies here's what everything else you've got's going to sit on top of. But rather than a platform, I always want something that's all inclusive. But it offers practice management tools and task management capabilities, workflow automation, and staff management. It includes time tracking and billing. It has client management features like a centralized hub that allows you to have all your contacts recorded and detailed, records their preferences, allows you to take notes, allows you to keep all the communication history, including all the related emails and text messaging, etc., etc. It offers document management where it organizes and stores everything and allows you to control sharing of documents, including those coming in or going through the client portal and those that are passing through the e-signature process. Uh, it has numerous reporting capabilities, and it is also capable of integrating with QuickBooks Online, Right Signature, Stripe, and Zapier. It also has integration with Microsoft 360, Outlook, Excel, and Word, or Gmail for those of you who are Gmailers. And it also includes integration with Lacert. So obviously, it benefits those who are doing tax because it's not just Lacert, but several other tax programs, including UltraTax CS. And now let's talk about the one and only Karbon. Karbon is a practice management platform offering a wide range of features for accounting firms, including client management, centralized uh, knowledge sources, business analytics, workflow automation, and much more. For example, it tracks client relationships, delivers promised services, and consolidates communication. It offers a centralized knowledge base to maintain a single source of truth for all firm related information. Business analytics are available, showing you the time and activity associated with the team members, the tasks, the client, right down to the very minute. Workflow automation to streamline repetitive tasks, and then it has great team collaboration, facilitating cooperative work. There's a few more goodies here about Karbon in my list. Um, it has, I put the word superb, email management integration. Uh, And what I mean by that is it doesn't miss a single email that's related to keywords that you've set up, like a client name or specific activity. Picks those up right away and sticks them exactly where they're supposed to be. It offers enterprise grade security, and it has numerous ecosystem integrations, including QuickBooks and Xero and many other applications. So now I have to talk about Mango. And I noticed a while ago that nobody was using Mango. Mango is a practice management app that really was built for QBO. It offers a comprehensive suite of features for streamlining practice operation. Its key functions include timekeeping, client management, document management, workflow automation, task management, and due date tracking. And of course, they all have due date tracking. Uh, so, you'll find that in our list as one of the key elements to be able to keep track of dates associated with all these activities. Um, and it has time tracking so that you can use it for billing purposes and also for accounting purposes from the aspect of how much time is really being spent on what task and what client. Has workflow automation that streamlines your workflows. Um, and task management to ensure that the right team member is getting the tasks that are most appropriate for them. I kind of always think of, for some reason, field service applications when I went through these various practice managers. I'm going, field service, they typically have little tools that help you know what individual that's working for you has what skills and capabilities so that you automatically assign it. You know where they're at in proximity to any given job, but in this case, you'd know where they are in respect to the workload that they've got uh, so that you don't over assign. Um, that's very essential to ensuring that you don't burn somebody out ahead of schedule. Uh, and in a lot of ways, that's kind of the way these practice management tools are. They're a lot like assigning personnel to do work and to track it out, just like you do with field services. I'm not suggesting that you try to use a field service app for practice management. I'm just saying, to me, there's a lot of similarities. They just use a little different term so as to not offend. You know me, though, I don't really care whether I offend or not. uh, And Mango has personalized dashboards that are pretty sharp. Um, and they also allow you to track. This is one thing that I found that I didn't necessarily see anywhere else. If I did, I don't remember it. But they allow you to track the CPE credits for your staff members. Uh, and I thought that was a pretty good difference. Um, and so, with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Deb now. And Deb, just let me. Do you do you want me to actually change presenters, or do you want me to just click on the slides? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'll share my screen and then I'll
Okay.
click through and then give them back to you when I'm all done. How's that?
All right.
All right.
So
So,
you can go ahead and share.
okay. So share, which one is it? Can never tell. Screen 4, that's screen 1, screen 1. Okay, you should see Mango up there now, do you?
Uh,
Yep.
yep.
Great, thank you. All right. All right. Well, let's talk about practice management apps. To me, I picked 3 to talk about: Keeper, Financial Sense, and TaxDome. I will tell you that I'm a Keeper user. And I called up 2 of my friends, my dear friends, Carlos Garcia, who's Hector's brother. He's a big TaxDome guy. And I called up Tanya Schulte and Teresa Sutter, who both use Financial Sense. Tanya uses it as a firm owner. Teresa uses it as a firm staff member. So I got their perspective on that. So, but I'm a Keeper user. So the module that we're talking about is client communication, workflow in the portal. Keeper is email and text, which I liked. The workflow is basic and the portal is standard, which works for my firm. I'm really a 2.5 person firm. So I'm not big as far as staff goes. We're big as far as what we do for clients, but we're not big as far as staff goes. Now, Teresa works for front office, front back office or something with my friend Aiwyn. She's the owner. Their firm is bigger. And of course, Carlos is one that implements. If you worked with TaxDome, Carlos would be one of your implementers. He's a big proponent of that. So this is what they do, what they do well, and they do differently. So in Keeper, this is a little more laid out. And the workflow automation in Keeper is limited. Now, I didn't really need that because I kind of know what's next. I didn't have to track somebody else. I think as accountants, to me, what was important to track was that sales tax was done, payroll is done, and the books are closed. So I have Mary that works for me. You know, she's been with me 18 years. And I didn't care when she worked as long as it got done on time. So the workflow automation I didn't need. I just needed it to make sure that it was done. But Financial Sense, that's one of the things why Aiwyn picked Financial Sense, was because she liked it that where she could hand tasks off to other staff members. If you assign tasks to, like, let's say I get a task to do the bank feed. When I'm done, I can click it off, which would move the task over to, say, Jonathan Bello. He's doing the bank rec. So, and then when he's done, it would go over to Aiwyn to prepare the financials. So you can hand off tasks and see where they are in the flow. And I'm sure TaxDome does the same. Why I love Keeper the most is the client communication. Is that when I have a question, it integrates with QuickBooks Online. So if I'm going down the list and I see something in the bank feed that I don't know what it is, I can ask them right there. What is this Amazon purchase for? What is this? I don't know this vendor. What is this Venmo payment for? What is, so yesterday I was with a client and I said, Venmo, who did you pay for Venmo? And of course, then he can answer in the portal, which I really like. So the other 2 kind of do the same. And I can also text. If I can say yes, they'll take a text and answer. I like the client portal. By the way, the client portal can work. That's where I upload the documents. So like sales tax, payroll tax returns, things that the client can access. I like the client portal. So what it did for me, I didn't have to pay for ShareFile anymore. So it saved me money, so I like that. Time tracking, who tracks their time anymore? Come on. I didn't care about that. To me, I don't care how long it takes as long as I get it done accurately, efficiently, and on time. And if it takes longer, it's because I'm learning something. So, and I don't track Mary's time either, by the way. And so, and I always think if you track time, everybody tracks time to see how long something, if it takes less, are you going to charge less? I don't think so. So I never worry about time tracking and pricing. What I liked about Keeper is that it's priced per client, not for the overall firm. Now, Financial Sense does has a solopreneur thing, but when I looked at it, it seemed great what all they offered. We had them on our YouTube channel one time if you want to look at that episode. So I looked at their solopreneur option, and when I saw it for just one like me, if I would like this, it was much less, but it was limited. I thought that's not going to work for me. And so I didn't want to have it was more costly to do, more expensive to do Financial Sense. Now, TaxDome now has a $1,000 per year annual price for the middle column. That was really attractive to me because actually that would cost me less than I'm paying now for Keeper because of the number of clients that I have. So I really was very interested in the new TaxDome and what they're coming out with. So here's what users have to say about them all. Of course, TaxDome Keeper saves 20 to 30 minutes a client. You're going to get these slides so you can read these specifically. So, I consolidates multiple apps into one, which I really liked. I could get rid of some of the things that I was paying for separately, and they're always coming out with new features. One of the things they just came out that I just connected with my Keeper account, it now you can do the bank feeds through Keeper. I mean, how many of you love the new QBO UI bank feed look? Not me. I guess I'll get used to it. But now with Keeper, I can integrate the bank feed right directly in Keeper, which will sync directly back to QBO. Now you reconnect the banks through Keeper. So it's not looking at QBO to pull in the bank feed. It's directly connected to their bank. I think that's going to be fabulous. The other thing, it also now has email, so you can see the emails that are coming in. I know when Karbon started way back when, I've known about Karbon since the beginning, they were mainly an email integrator, and we all grow as things go. The other thing I really like about Keeper are the financial reports. Now in QuickBooks Online, if you have Simple Start, for example, you can't do month comparison unless you have a secondary report. Keeper, I can reduce my QuickBooks Online subscription because what it doesn't have, Keeper has the reporting options that I was missing in Simple Start or Essentials. So that's a savings for me too. The cons are the workflow automation, which was not of interest to me. And I think the premium features, they cost a little more. Now I'm talking $2. We're not talking hundreds, and per client's pricing scales up quickly. So if you have one client, two clients, no problem. But if you start to add more, I have over 50 clients on Keeper. Imagine my bill. But the time it saved me, we accountants, we always worrying about price. I look at time. Time is the only thing I cannot get back. Once I spend it, it's gone. And I have more time behind me than I have in front of me because my next birthday, I'm going to be 70. 70. And this is what the people say about it. 10,000 firms rely on TaxDome. Now, the problem with TaxDome, and I told Carlos this when he showed it to me, it's called TaxDome. He goes, yeah, they have a branding problem. They're fixing that. So I'm considering switching to TaxDome for the pricing and all that it does. There's a little calculator on there that will show you what it will replace. And Carlos showed me the calculator. It will save me $11,000 a year. Kind of interesting. Now, Keeper saves me 50 hours a week in the time that I spend tracking stuff. I have my SOPs in there, the reporting, the sync back to QuickBooks. How many of you have clients that never put a vendor in? And one by one, you got to add them. Not in Keeper. You just go add in that vendor, add in that vendor. Saves me tons of time. And Financial Sense, people, 94 out of 100 people love Financial Sense.
Hey, Deb,
Yeah.
John Bello contributed this that I thought was interesting, that when you do bank feeds through Keeper, it doesn't post a cleared status in QBO.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So anyway, but they take feedback. I have, in fact, today, this morning, I had a meeting with Sean Fielding. I have a monthly meeting with them. So we'll let them know that. So, but thanks, Jonathan. Jonathan's my buddy. We hang out at Scaling together. So what do these cost? Keeper is about $8 to $10 per client. Financial Sense, you can look at their website, and TaxDome is per user, Financial Sense is per user, and Keeper's per client. So that's how you can price. But choose your champion, meaning go test them out. If you don't have them, go find one. Nothing is perfect. It's software. One will, figure out what's most important to you and then go with that option. And what's nice about these options and these vendors, they're very responsive. What I like a lot about Keeper is I get people on the other end of the phone, not bots. So I like that Keeper is like that. So pick one and learn it and use it. And another thing I liked about Keeper, I started small, meaning a lot of times I tried another one on this list and it was so overwhelming to me, I did nothing with it. Nothing. Because I thought, this makes no sense. So I did nothing with it. But then I found Keeper and I was kind of afraid to start another practice management app because of my experience with the other one. And they said, no, you can take it one step at a time. And I did. So I really like that about Keeper. And then plus my friend Cindy Schrader used it. So I go, if Cindy used it, it's good enough for me. So that's why I kind of went with Keeper. And my other friend, Aiwyn, she used Financial Sense. Had I talked to her first, I might have gone with Financial Sense. But I'm Keeper, and I've been using it now about 4 years, and I love it. So back to you, Murph. I'm going to stop sharing my screen if I can find and I'm going to turn it over back to you.
Okay, I can find share. So you should be seeing, is QBO-Accountant a real practice manager? And Deb and I are going to have a bit of a debate over this. She's going to um, basically tell you what she thinks, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. And y'all have kind of already told us that most of you use it, but again, um, so Deb, what do you really think? Is QBO-Accountant a real practice manager?
Well, I have to be honest. When it first came out, I started to use it, and wouldn't work right. So I kind of give stuff one shot. If it doesn't work, forget it. Now, with the new UI interface and the new client communication they have, I'm willing to give it a try, but I'm a believer and you cannot chase two rabbits and catch either one. So is QuickBooks Online now going to focus on practice what we need as accountants and bookkeepers for practice management, or are they bolting something on top of it that's only going to work halfway some of the time and differently? What I like about these practice management apps, this is what they do. So when I'm picking an app, no matter what, from payroll to bill pay to practice management apps, I like ones that integrate with QuickBooks Online because I don't think QuickBooks Online does any of the ancillary things well. They do it. So I just don't think I don't QuickBooks has made me a millionaire. So I hate to say anything bad, but I don't trust it on that aspect. Now it might get better, but I don't want to risk my firm for them to beta test on me. So that's my feeling.
And of course, they just announced the new beta testing for what's going to be the new version of QBO-Accountant that they're going to actually call Intuit Accountant. And so, I think there'll be a lot of features added. But realistically, when I was trying to research this, I also have played around with it several times and written a few articles about the this, that, or the other of it, like the ability to set up tasks under projects, etc., and assign those tasks to individuals. Uh, but it does lack some of those kinds of features that you usually see in true practice managers, but the list of things that they have when you really do the research, you have to do a lot of work on the Intuit website to actually find anything about any of their products in detail. But there's like 65 things that it lists that it does in the arena of practice management. Everything from, you know, being a data management source and a client hub to offering, as I mentioned earlier, recurring projects and tasks, customized tax status, task statuses, uh, project tracking, et cetera, et cetera. I think for a lot of small firms that haven't yet gotten to the point that they really can even afford to spend an extra dollar on a tool, it maybe is a great practice manager. You know, I'm not supposed to talk about the other guys when I'm uh, in QB talks, but Xero, on the other hand, you got to actually plug in their specific tool to their uh, kind of Xero accountant tool in order to get any of the same kinds of functionalities or use a third party tool. And so Intuit actually has done a lot to incorporate uh, practice management into the accountant tool. And I think that in this new product, they probably will incorporate even more of that. And one reason that I think that is they're kind of taking an approach that I wrote about for another brand new GL on the market, in that they're asking accountants first. They're not saying, "Oh, we've built this. What do you think of it?" They're saying, "Well, we want to get you involved in beta so you can tell us, what do you want? How do you want it? What should we do about this, etc." And I think that approach may wind up producing a accountant version that is a lot better tool than it is now. Hopefully, it will do everything better and that it will also have more features and functionalities so that it doesn't have to always uh, require a third party plug-in.
But do you want to
Uh,
wait for them to get it right? I don't.
well,
Because
that's
I tell
true.
you what, I remember when Arij was on that stage. She's no longer with them, but she was on the Scaling New Heights stage last year. She came and told us they were going to do this years ago. And I thought, you know what? I can't be waiting around. I mean, I think they have good intentions, but do you want to wait for them before you get your firm going? We're arguing here, right? That's the idea of this.
Right.
you
Yeah,
know, you know,
it
so
is
I'd
a
rather use
debate.
one that's what they focus on. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to dilute anything. So if I want a practice and practice manager, I want to pay for one that's all they focus on. So that's why I'm willing to pay for it. And if price is an issue, raise your prices. And that's a whole nother topic. If you need help with that, I'll talk to you. Um, but anyway, yeah, I'm
I'm
sure
not
they
sh-
have all their best intentions at heart. I'm not waiting around for them to get it right.
looking at some of these questions. I'm not really sure what's being asked here. Alfredo Martinez asked, "Did it start with a T or an F?" I'm not sure what that was about.
Oh, I'm sure they're asking about the one I thought I used and didn't like. It
Uh,
started with an M.
oh, an M.
M.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure
Candace,
it's a great product. It just overwhelmed me. I couldn't get it. It
so,
made me feel stupid, and I did not like that feeling it gave me. I wanted to feel empowered, and Keeper did that for me.
so one of the questions that is interesting here that Candace Kennedy has asked is, so how do you then convert your data when you move from one practice management software to another? And, I know that some of them say that they offer the ability to migrate, uh, but that certainly would be one of the things you probably want to check. Of
But
course,
what would you need
almost,
to migrate? I mean, you maybe your SOPs, but download them and upload them again if they don't,
well, but
cross.
all your prior, like where you've got all your notes stored and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right,
Yeah. You don't want to lose access to that, and you don't want to have to continue to pay for an old subscription
right.
to be able to have it. So
So that's why it's
ultimately,
important to
yes.
really look at these. And once you commit, you know, go with it. And if something else happens, like I know I'm really considering switching to TaxDome. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with all the stuff that I already have in Keeper? Well, I'm going to have to move it over. Now, I should ask Carlos if they would, move my stuff over. Now, it's still connecting to your QBO or your QBO product, so that doesn't change. So, but yes, that's a great question, Candace. That's a great question.
Yeah, we thank you. And let's see here.
Arlen wishes they would keep QuickBooks Desktop.
Leslie Simmons says, "Love the enthusiasm because her inner geeks are shining through."
I mean, you guys are the only people I like talking to because you're the only ones that get excited about apps and bank recs and all this stuff that like I do. I go to a ladies who lunch thing and I say, let's talk about bank recs. And I think I've lost my mind. This is, yes, it's so much fun to hang out with my friends in this group because, um, because you guys get it. Oh, and Alfredo says he installed TaxDome last year and hired Carlos. Isn't Carlos He's the most wonderful person, I think. And we only had two or three clients come into the office to sign. What does that mean? You only had two or three offices to come into. Oh, so you did everything electronically, like with your e-filing authorizations and all of that, Alfredo. I guess that's what you mean. You know, yes, I think, and they're renaming it, by the way, Dome. They're rebranding it. I know they're going to be at Reframe in November, so we're going to find out a lot of kind of stuff. So
So, folks, believe it or not, again, based on the criteria that we use to do these Be Insightful assessments, this is the ranking of the 9 apps that we looked at today. Karbon was number one, TaxDome, Canopy, Financial Sense. QBO-Accountant was number five. Then came Keeper, Mango, Firm 360, and Client Hub. Uh, these are purely number driven, and so that's the ranking standpoint. I found it very interesting that QBO-Accountant was right in the middle. Uh, and then we have the third polling question. A couple of you said you missed the second one, but we did have a second polling question. Now, if you did miss it, be sure you answer this poll, and be sure you also answer our sponsor poll when we offer it again in a minute. And if you answer poll 3 and the sponsor poll, we'll count that as your second poll. Okay. And the sponsor poll, you answer either way. Uh, so we want to know, which one of these apps would you like to learn more about? Canopy, Client Hub, Financial Sense, Firm 360, Karbon, Keeper, Mango, TaxDome, or QBO-Accountant. And we'll give you a good 20 seconds to do that.
now Dave has a question. Another question to consider when switching products: how much effort are you willing to put into retaining your clients again? I think that's a great thing to consider. But I think as long as you make things seamless, clients don't care. As you know, that's what I liked about Keeper. There was really no effort on the client's part to answer the questions. They click on the magic link, it comes up, there it is. So that was another thing that was important to me. So if you make it difficult for clients where they have to do this and they have to remember that and they have to do this, which is one reason I stopped using a Smart Vault, because nobody could figure out how to get in. Not that it's a great product. I don't know if it's something you can consider, but if it's going to make your practice better, you're in charge. They will get used to it. When the IRS changes how to pay taxes, to make their life easier, not taking checks anymore, I think by the end of the month, do they really care how it's going to impact us as taxpayers? No, they just do it and you got to live with it. So I think we're a little nicer than that, but I think you have to decide what's best for your practice. But thanks
Now,
for the question, Dave.
you just mentioned something I hadn't heard. I knew they were going to stop issuing checks. I hadn't heard
Oh,
they're
maybe
going
it's
to.
the issuing checks. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it's the issuing checks. Sorry,
yeah.
I apologize for that. But I heard checks.
I,
You know,
I can't believe they'll stop accepting money any way they get it.
great catch, Murph. I just heard
Uh,
check and I freaked out. I mean, how many people really? I know I was one time I was with some young people and I said, "Well, you could write a check," and they go, "What's a check?" Oh
well,
yeah,
I once had a client whose wife wondered how on earth she could be without any money in her account as long as she still had checks.
no, really. My first husband would take checks out of the back of the list, he would pull them out of the back, thinking that didn't count. Well, anyway, he's a goner. So I traded him in for a much better model. Okay, financials. I think, yeah,
Uh,
we kind of got an even switch about all of them all over the place. I know they're all great. And my suggestion is look at them all, find the one that resonates with you best, and then start using it. Just start, because there is a learning curve to any of them, all of them. And you all learned how to use QBO. You all learned how to drive a car. You can learn this too. And I always say, I learned how to write cursive in the second grade. I was so afraid of
I'm
it.
not sure all these people driving cars learned how to drive them
Well,
or learned how
looking
to
at the traffic in
drive. They
Daytona,
might
yeah.
have learned how to drive the car, but they didn't learn
Right,
how to drive.
right.
Uh, and so, folks, remember, if you didn't answer poll CPE poll 2, but you did answer poll 3, you need to answer this sponsor poll. Matt, go ahead and put the sponsor poll back up.
There you go. So everybody should have their
And it doesn't
CPE.
matter which way you answer it. Just be sure that you answer it, and then we'll consider that your number 2. And so I want to thank everybody for being here. I especially want to thank my wonderful co-host, Deb, and you're going to be seeing more of her on QB Talks in the coming year. So, you know, we really appreciate her involvement and her enthusiasm. You can hardly beat her enthusiasm.
Oh, and by the way, I'm doing a whole year-long class for Insightful Accountant on client development. You'll get to hear everything that I think on what you should do. It's a year-long class, and for the premium membership. So that starts in October. So you don't want to miss that.
Another reason why you need to become a Be Insightful member. And
Yes,
remember, this actual app comparison blue paper is not going to be available except through Be Insightful membership. You will get a copy of today's PDF deck and you'll have access to the recording, but the actual app comparison is only going to be available through Be Insightful membership, and that'll probably post near the end of this month or the beginning of next. I want to say once again, thanks everybody. Deb, especially thank you. And
you're
we
welcome.
appreciate all of you. I think there was like 138 or something at one time. And we appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to be with us. And we'll see you next month. All right, for QB Talks. Bye bye.
Are you an accounting or tax professional who wants to stay ahead without spending a dime? Join thousands who trust insightful accountant and tax practice news to keep them informed and empowered. Get expert updates on QuickBooks, Xero, tax planning strategies, and workflow tips delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a solo bookkeeper, firm leader, or tax advisor, these newsletters are your shortcut to what's next in the profession. They're free, practical, and built for people like you. Visit insightfulaccountant.com and hit subscribe to start your smarter workflow today for free.